ladies and gentlemen of the press, it's a pleasure to have you here with us. And this occasion is in line with what is happening in our Igbo land, in our geographical zone. And the Igbo Patriots is raising the bar to ensure that our leaders do the right thing. And it's on that note that we have started a massive campaign to make sure that our leaders in all the 5 Southeast states do not sell us out in the name of anything whatsoever. So you're welcome. Before we start, I would like to introduce the leaders of Igbo Patriots that are here. And it is on that note that I will introduce our coordinator, Mr. Obumneke Echimukonye. Please, you're welcome to the right service, sir.
Thank you, sir.
The deputy coordinator of Igbo Patriots is our own Ada Biafra, as we call her, Wanda and Iwogo Eberochukwu. Great time. Igbo Patriots have membership that cuts across Asia, UK, and Nigeria. And whatever we are doing here is approved by the coordinators around Nigeria. And we are doing everything we are doing with their express permission. I'm speaking English because I would like everybody to understand what I'm saying. Because we are Igbos. But this is going across to non-Igbos and to Igbos. We also have the Financial Secretary of Igbo Patriots here, Sister Stella Chukuma. You're welcome, ma'am. Before we welcome our office, the Secretary of Igbo Patriots is here. He calls himself a comrade because he's a comrade, and he suddenly becomes a grandpa. He'll still be a comrade. Comrade, that's what comrade is here. Welcome, sir. That's the Secretary of Igbo Patriots. Come on, Mr. Sir, please. My own sister, my running mate, I'm taking after her. If I'm big, she's big. If I'm small, she's small. The Nigerian coordinator of Igbo Patriots. And then my friend, my colleague, that will lose my trouble because of his white beard, the Assistant Secretary of Igbo Patriots, journalist of Fairway, thank God. The only journalist that says in the jungle. I don't know what is in there, but it's like the news comes from there more. And actually also you can run inside one bush and hide. Alright, you are all welcome. And we'll go straight to the reason why we're here. And before we do that, we would like to know those that are with us. Because we can go one before we go to Afambo Ume Cleanse in Chekube, and by the special grace of God, I'm the Public Secretary of Igbo Patriots. Professor in the house, sir. Before you give me this, I will write, and I'll never graduate. Evangelist Sabo is our landlord for today, and he's our father. Anything that concerns Igbo concerns him. He doesn't even need to be a member. He will come on his own because it concerns Igbo. Evangelist, you're welcome, sir. And we thank you for welcoming us to your house.
We ask that whatever we shall do here, we give glory to your name and give freedom to our people. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Good afternoon, gentlemen of the press and the fellow patriots. I want to thank us for making our time to be here. Most of us came from as far as Lagos. Thank you all for being here today. There was an information that was given before, but I think at a point the publicity secretary corrected himself. Our deputy coordinator is Ifeyinwa Obiesha. She's already seated with us, too far from us. I would like to go to business of the day. The day is well spent. Igbo Bedrock is an amalgam of Igbo. We are in all parts of the world. It is a group that was established to ensure that the well-being of Igbo is maintained. In other words, Igbo Bedrock protects the well-being, total well-being, everything that concerns Igbo. Recently, we observed that there are threats on existence of Igbo and some other tribes in Nigeria. The threats are coming mostly from the cattle bearers, who we call Fulani cattle bearers. And it normally starts with crisis. What have been leading to this crisis have been destruction of farm produce or killing of cows. These cattle bearers, who we call the Fulani cattle bearers, they easily pull out their guns to shoot. So we found out that if we don't take strong measures and act fast, Igbo nation might cease to exist sooner than we expected. Having seen that, we decided that we will go around all the Igbo states, not only the states in the southeast. We go around all the Igbo states, including Benue State. Fortunately for us, Governor Otom has already done the job we want other states to do. What are we going to those states to do? We are demanding from them to enact anti-open grazing bill. What we found out is that this issue or the killing of our people have been mostly due to conflict between farmers and herdsmen. Either that a farmer kills cow or herdsmen cows destroy farm produce. We see that some states are doing some, are taking some measures to ensure that there is peaceful coexistence between the herdsmen and the citizens of the state. But unfortunately, their measures are palliative, if you will allow me to use the medical term. Their measures are not lasting. They can't give us the solution. Why? Let's take Ebonyi State for instance. There is a measure from the state government that if herdsmen allow their cows to destroy farm produce, they pay for the farm produce. The farmer will benefit, gets payment. If a farmer or the community kills cows, they pay twice. This is palliative measure. That will not stop conflict. Yes, it might reduce it. It will definitely reduce it, but it will stop it. Because these cows are moving in the streets and in the farms. They must move away from the guidance of the planning men and move into the farm. There's no way that in 1 year that the cattle will not enter a farm and destroy. And if the farmer is not patient enough, he might want to chase the cow away. Only an attempt to chase the cow away will make a plan. Want to shoot you. Most of them are telling us that they value the cows more than human beings. So if that is the case, we find out that this measure of payment doesn't solve our problem. It just reduces it. So we have taken it upon ourselves to tell our people the right thing to do. What is the right thing to do? Enact anti-open grazing bill. We are living in the 21st century. Time has gone when cattle graze openly. No. People have built up houses here and there. There is development here and there. So, allowing cattle to coexist with human beings will always bring problems. So, we are calling on Ebonyi State House of Assembly to enact anti-open grazing bill. We went to the Speaker's office today. We have the meeting. It's out for a function, but we delivered the letter through Mr. Ndukwe, who is a sergeant at arms, and we hope that the letter will get to him. This is the letter I'm talking about. This letter is calling for enactment of anti-open grazing bill. Not only that, if you enact a bill and it is not enforced, or it is not signed into law, it will be active. So, the Ebonyi State House of Assembly wants it to enact this bill and move it or pass it to this executive, who will sign the bill into law. We also want Ebonyi State House of Assembly to empower the executive to set up vigilant groups who will enforce the law. It is obvious that our police has failed in so many states to enforce similar law. So we want the state government to set up vigilant group, equip the group with everything it needs to do its job. Community policing is the way forward. Our police is not well equipped, and sometimes they don't do the work they are assigned to do. So our call today goes to Ebonyi State House of Assembly, and that is why we are in Ebonyi today. This is not just Igbo Petrol talking. This is the voice of Ebonyi indigenes too, because among us are Ebonyi people. It's just that here will not contain us all. After this press release, we are going to have meeting with Ebonyi people. So Ebonyi people told us to go and meet their House of Assembly members and tell them that this is what they want. And we hope that the Assembly members will do the wishes of their people, so that they will continue to enjoy the goodwill of the people. In the letter, we advised the State Assembly to ensure that the bill is passed in about 3 weeks. Because that's the response we are going to give to the Ebonyi people and the Igbo people, that we expect to hear that this bill has been made in 3 weeks, made and sent to the executives. If we don't see that, then we will know that Ebonyi House of Assembly does not want to do what the people want. We will report back to the people and allow the people to do what is right. We don't know what the people might do, and we don't want to use harsh words, but recalling of members might be part of it, because what is at stake is life. The device na onya na ndia no na for, so nobody will stay quiet and allow himself or his family members to be killed, his mother or his sister to be raped. We are serious on this, but we are not talking tough. We don't even want to talk tough. We want to talk as mature people. So I thank you, the president, for coming today. I thank you for your time. You've been here for a long time. You were here before us, I think 2 hours before us. I thank you for your patience. What you are doing is work of God. If you will allow me to sound like a pastor, we know what you are doing, the job you are doing, and we thank you, and we pray that you keep on doing that. In fact, sometimes they say judiciary is the last hope for the masses, but I think now is the press. So thank you for being here, and we want you to send this message out to the community. Send the message to the Ebonyi people, those that have not heard it, about open rights. And those that know will also help us to spread the message Our message today has been sent to the House of Assembly, and we expect the House of Assembly to do its job. Thank you once more, and I want to stop here and allow other members of other officials of Igbo Patriots to come in, one or two officials to speak one or two things I might have forgotten if there is any. Thank you once more. My name is Obunne Ejikoyoka, the coordinator of Igbo Patriots.
Thank you, Coordinator. Just for your information, our prof here, Evangelist Agwon, is also one of the trustee members of Igbo Patriots. And your own Reverend, you might know him, Reverend Father John O'Day, is also a trustee member of Igbo Patriots. I used to tell you that whatever we are doing, every state in Igbo land is carried along. And we are very serious about it. We are very, very serious about that. So from you, if there is anything you would like to know about this organization or what you'd like to report to the world about Igbo Patriots, then you go ahead from us. This is time to ask us that question so we can.
Sorry, before the questions, I omitted vital paragraph. I want the world also to know that we have, through this letter, informed Ebonyi State House of Assembly to include in the proposed bill a clause that no part of Ebonyi State land will be given out for grazing as grazing area, grazing reserve, or cattle colony. In any case it's coming from. All these terminologies are used to deceive people. We know it's just one thing, to get a land, a massive land. We don't have such in Aniwu. So we want Ebonyi State House of Assembly to include that clause in their law, that no part of Ebonyi land will be given to federal government, Ministry of Agriculture, or the Maeti Cattle Rearers Association of Nigeria. No. Cattle rearing is a private business. It's a multi-million-dollar business. Whoever wants to rear cows can provide ranches for his cows. If people that are doing poultry business can build poultry houses, why can't cattle rearers get the money to build ranches? They can if they really want to do it. So we are advising them to follow that trend. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, sir. Before the questions, our trustee member, our own prof, wants to say one or two things. Okay? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Once again, I'm told there are no women in the press. So, gentlemen of the press, you're welcome. The purpose for which Igbo Patriots came here to Ebonyi has just been clearly stated. Just last 2 weeks ago, on the 6th of this month, there was an international press conference that was held in Enugu. I'm sure some of you all of you pressmen would have seen it. And the purpose for which we are moving around the Igbo states, I didn't say Southeast, the Igbo states, or wherever Igbo is occupying, is to ensure that this thing that the package that planned since 1960, on October 11, 1960, Sir Ahmadu Bello told his henchmen up there in the north that the new, I'm quoting him now, said the new nation called Nigeria shall be an estate of our great-grandfather, Ottoman Danfodio. We must ruthlessly prevent any change of power. We use the minority in the north as willing tools and the south as a conquered territory. We will never allow them to rule over us. We will never allow them to have control over their future, unquote. That future is here, and they are not allowing me, they are not allowing us to have control over our own future, over our own lands, because of private people who are doing business. It's like you are a journalist. I'm sure some of you maybe you keep goats or you keep chickens, and then you go to the back of the Sultan of Sokoto's house or the Emir of Kano and ask him to give you a place where you rear your chicken. A private business. So it does look like the battle script is being executed. In 1964, I saw a document of the Northern People's Congress, a document, a manifesto of the party, a manifesto, a public document, and the states, part of it states, and I quote, "Time has come. We must show these intellectual fools that we are only in the morning of our leadership of this country. Our only obstacle are the Igbos. They have overplayed their card. They will sink." Unquote. And I'm beginning to wonder whether this is began from open grazing, where they just come in, move into anywhere they like. I teach in the university, but it's State University. And sometimes I come out and I see cattle passing in front of the Senate building. In front of the Senate building of the university. Cattle. How much cattle do we have in Nigeria? Do we have more cattle than Brazil? Do we have more cattle than Holland? And people think that they can still do the same thing they did in the 17th century. In the 21st century, 2018, they still want to move cattle instead of moving meat. There is Sambisa forest. Why don't they carry the cattle there to go and graze? Why don't they find a place and buy grass? They can import grass. We have imported toothpick in this country. So why don't we import grasses and feed these cattle? This is the reason why we are saying this is a gimmick. It does look like there is a design, a grand design to take over our land, whether we like it or whether we don't. If you go to the Kano, my brothers live there. Any land they will buy, they negotiate for the land. They buy it if need be. This is ditto for Kano, ditto for Kaduna. If it's in Maiduguri, Abeokuta, Lagos, Ibadan, Abuja, anywhere the man goes, he negotiates. You don't call trotting guns. Last year, Fulani herdsmen invaded my community. And the boys called me because I'm town union president. I got across to the governor. I got across to the police, commissioner of police. And they moved there and they arrested 6 of them. The next day, Alhaji Sambo went up, took them on bail. People who were arrested at gunpoint. This is why, and some of you will be carrying knives that you want to go and machete that you are coming from the farm. Police will arrest you and ask you for the receipt. But people are killing people, and our leaders are keeping more. Governor Samuel Otun said, "I don't care what second tenor is. Nobody, I will not use the life of my people. I will not use them. I will not sacrifice them on the altar of Nigerian politics. My people have to be saved." And we are urging our governors to do the same. The days when somebody will need to go to the north or go to the west to get blessing to the governor in Igbo land is over. That's what we are saying. That's what the Igbo patrons are saying. That we cannot continue this way. The lives of our people are in danger. Governor Otun has taken his matter to the United Nations because it is the life of people that is at stake. And people are just dancing around and we are using apologetic languages. This is Igbo land, for crying out loud. And nobody can occupy any part of it without discussing with us. If the discussion succeeds, let the person stay. If it doesn't succeed, the person should go. That is the position of Igbo Petro. And as a board of trustee member, it pains me mostly because at the end of the day, what you will get is that we're having representatives who are thinking about their pockets and not thinking about the lives of the people. And there's no other way to get your people to support you in your political maneuvers or your political involvement than to work for them. That is the best way to get the second tenor. Not moving around and threatening and blackmailing all of us that you bring Fulani private cattle rearers. It's not part of what Nigeria uses to get wealth to share. After collecting our wealth here, they go to the north and they use it to build gigantic dams. And then they will plant food and bring for me. And then the one I want to plant, Fulani herdsmen will invade there. I was on air one day and somebody calls in and said he planted 6 hectares, not 6 plots, 6 hectares of cassava. And Fulani herdsmen came and ate up 4 in 4 days. Each day they will come and eat the hectare. The next day they will come back. On the fourth day, he was filming them. When somebody said, if they get you, you are dead. You better drive off. And the person drove off. This is somebody's wealth that is being wasted. Our fathers, our mothers are being raped. Our sisters are being raped. People can't go to farm without fear. Is this the future that they said they will not allow to have control over? Igbo Petro is saying we must have control over our future and the future of our children. Thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Chukwemeka Opara from News Agency of Nigeria. We've been attending sort of gathering or press conference, but we are in this country and we know like what happened in Benin when the open prison law was passed by the House and the Executive Council there by your Toby, signed it into law. The Yeti Allah the council leaders to openly threatened that it was not acceptable and they will react. The Nigerian army was aware, the police was aware, Nigerians were aware, and alas, even though some people don't even protect this people, and at last 73 souls went into it. So to me, it's not a matter of passing the law. It's to take a cue from what the they will use force. If you pass the bill and enact it, they will not agree and they will use force. It's like what Bush said in 2004. He told Americans that there is no dialogue in the dictionary of Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda does not understand dialogue. So these cattle breeders don't understand law. What they want is that force. So how will the Igbos protect themselves from what happened? It happened in Enugu State the other time. If you are calling for vigilante, how will they get the kind of arms that the herdsmen are using? They are not using ordinary guns. They are not using ordinary pistols. How will we arm ourselves? Because anywhere the law is, they will react. Thank you very much.
Okay, good afternoon. My own question goes like this. Having given the State House of Assembly 3 weeks ultimatum to pass the anti-open grazing bill, if after that 3 weeks they didn't pass the bill, what will they do? So the second question is the coordinator, is it for Nigerian chapter or coordinator Igbo Petro worldwide? Thank you.
Members of the press, I want to respond to your question, sir. If I heard you correctly, you asked if that from record we have, the cattle rearers, Fulani terrorists, will not respect the law, the bill, and that is there anything we are doing about arming our people and for defense? Let me respond to that question. No, there is nothing we are doing, because we believe in the rule of law, in affirmative action which will involve the people. It is what the people say that stands in any state. If the governor of Ebonyi State, His Excellency Dave Umahi, the Speaker and the House of Assembly stand and speak the voice of the people who elected them to power. These people who say, we don't want Fulani headsmen around around us, if they stand and say it, Fulani herdsmen will not be in a body state. Because it is the governor, the House of Assembly who are representing the voice of the people, the senators who are in Abuja, the House of Representative members who are also in Abuja. They are the ones who speak for the people. They are the ones who will say no. If the Fulani herdsmen say they want to enter our territory by force, they will make laws that will make it uncomfortable and, in fact, impossible for these Fulani people to enter our territories. It is in the hands of the law. We have the police, we have the civil defense, and we have the local vigilantes. They together can stop the menace of the terrorists in our land. So we are not going into violence. We cannot preach it, and we will not tell our people to take up arms against them. What we are saying is that the people who are there, those who represent us, who we voted into power, must stand up and live up to the expectations of the people. And let me sound a note of warning here, that if our people, those who were elected to represent us, refuse to make laws that will represent our interest, we will remove them from power. The power is in our hands. We are the people of Ebonyi. We Igbo patriots, we represent the Ebonyi people here. And that is why we went there and we're saying that if they refuse to do the biddings of the citizens, we will go to the polls and will defend our votes and change them and bring in people who will do what people want. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank God for that wonderful answer. We don't talk tough, like I said before. Just to put eyes on the cake that you've already prepared. If the whole Igbo state make this law, we don't even need to bring much security and personnel for it to be enforced. I'm still answering your question. The fact is that these people know that our leaders are afraid to do the right thing. Look at Ekiti State. It's almost well done. It's only in Benue that we have the killings. Ekiti was a pocket, one or two of them. But look at Ekiti State. Fayosho did his grand. Yes, other Yoruba states have not done it, but indirectly they are in support. So assuming the whole Igbo-speaking states agree to enact this law, and they do, which we want them to do, you will see the other southern states will take you, and the other north central states will take you. The Fulani herdsmen will leave us alone to be in peace. But if we keep on being quiet because our afraid because of what happened in Ebonyi State, then we are doomed. We are finished. They are putting fear in us. First, we will enact the laws. Let them come. Nothing will happen to our people. Our people will be protected. We won't use violence. Thank you. For the second question, the questions are, there are two. After 3 weeks, what will the group do if the bill is not made and signed into law? After 3 weeks, we report to the people of Ebonyi State. See what we've done, see the actions we've taken. Actually, we will talk to them today, but after 3 weeks, we will let them know what has been done, whether the action has been taken or not. If the legislative action was not taken, we tell the Ebonyi people and the Igbo. So it's left for the Igbo and the Ebonyi people to take actions. We don't take decisions here on high table. This is an organized, well-structured group. We sit down, we plan on things to do. We are professionals. All of us here are professionals. We are in different fields. So if I tell you anything now, I'm giving you wrong information. So it is after that time that we gain 3 weeks. If nothing is done, then we sit down and come out with action plan. I am a humble leader. That is the second answer. If you use coordinator general, you are right. But I place myself at par. I like placing myself at par with other coordinators in different continents. We have coordinators in different continents, but when we sit down for meetings, I am the head. Thank you.
Is the language that was used can be easily misunderstood. It's not an ultimatum, no. Because this is media, it's critical that you understand exactly what we are doing. It's not the usual ultimatum you give when there is a dispute. At this point, we don't really have a dispute. We have not declared a dispute with government of Ebonyi State. I mean, we are just saying that in 3 weeks, it's possible. I've been around a while, and I know how they pass the bill against Okada or Keke. They just called the speaker in the night. Say, I don't want Keke. I don't want Okada. By 10 a.m. the next morning, I mean, you are journalists, you know how they think, they get it done. So we are just saying 3 weeks is long enough time for anybody who wants to get a bill passed to do so. So it's not really an ultimatum, it's more like, oh, you have this latitude, you have this length of time to start thinking about it. They can set the process in motion. And we are watching, we are watching, thank God to the media. When things begin to happen, you will always tell us, we will know now. Thank you.
On behalf of the Igbo Patriots, we wish to say thank you for coming. God bless you. We pray that you who are Igbos by nationality, you who are in the fourth realm, is it the fourth or the fifth, the fourth realm or fourth estate of the realm? You who are feeling the pinch, who see, who hear, and who write, will indeed join Igbo Patriots and write accurately. Tell it as it is. It's time we take away fear. It's time we stand on what is right, not minding whose ox is God. The land is ours.
Or whose cattle is God.
Or whose cattle is God. This is our land. This is our place. For us, after us, our children.
This is our time.
This actually is our time. I will even beg on you, the ladies that are in the media, to even do more than the men. Believe me, the women are taking over. The men are sleeping. We are the mothers whose children, when they open the door and you meet a cow, may God bless you as you came, and may He lead you back even as you go. I pray it's well for us all in Anibu, in Jesus' mighty name.
Amen. I see that our closing prayer.